Hey everyone, RJ here from Remax Aria, and we're here with Vic from Remax Vita dito sa Zambales. Maraming salamat ulit sa
My pleasure.
accommodate sa amin.
Anytime.
So we want to do this behind the scenes. Maybe you can tell more about yourself or introduce yourself real quick, and paano ka nag-start sa real estate dito sa Zambales?
Dito sa Zambales.
Yes.
Sure, no problem. So, I've been a real estate broker since 2016.
2016.
And then we moved to Zambales. I'm originally from Manila. We moved to Zambales during the pandemic. And it was supposed to be temporary. We were trying to escape the lockdowns in Manila. There's nothing to do, right? So we moved to Zambales just to spend time here without all the lockdowns, diba? Less COVID cases. Until we realized na we actually can live here. We enjoyed the lifestyle too much, diba? And then down the road, we realized na there is a big opportunity in real estate here in Zambales. Especially during the pandemic, most of the people are tired of the city, basically. Diba? Parang enclosed spaces, can't move, can't go anywhere. So suddenly, investments started to grow here in Zambales, the interest from buyers. Kasi they'd want...
Nung pandemic ito?
Nung pandemic. Kasi they'd want a place outside of Manila.
Okay.
So, na-realize namin, laki ng market. At the same time, mura pa dito sa Zambales compared to similar beach locations near Manila.
Like
Kasi
Batangas,
even La Union, diba? Baler is a bit far, pero usually yun, Batangas, La Union. Yun naman yung sikat sa Manila. Diba? So, Zambales is actually about 3 to 4 hours from Manila. So, just like Batangas, very similar to Batangas, but less developed.
Okay.
But we've seen throughout the past 10 years here in Zambales na it's growing and developing very rapidly. Therefore, even the property prices, dahan-dahan na rin tumataas. Actually, hindi siya dahan-dahan. Very steep yung appreciation rate here in Zambales. It's about 20% per annum.
Grabe 20%.
In comparison to Manila, Manila is about 3 to 5% per annum, I believe. So here in Zambales, 20%. So actually, na-realize namin na madaming buyers namin, investors here, would rather just put their money into land. Land banking. Ganyan. Madami kaming clients.
So the 20% is more on land banking.
Exactly. So instead of, diba, how much do you get from bank, diba, interest, diba? Biggest siguro na time deposit mo is about 3% per annum, diba?
Baka half pa nga nun
Even, diba? So parang, compared to 20%, they just rather buy land, diba? They can enjoy it pa. Diba? So nakita namin yun yung opportunity. So at the same time, here in Zambales, wala rin pang masyadong professionals, licensed brokers, diba? Accredited agents. So we saw this as an opportunity, especially that I'm a licensed broker. So this is parang medyo open market. Although now, you've been getting parang new brokerages here and there, ganyan. But, diba, far pa from being a developed city. So that's why we like it here.
Okay.
Diba? Parang big opportunity.
So, what's the difference between selling in Zambales versus selling in Metro Manila?
Okay. A lot of things. Maybe one, in terms of selling, diba? Iba rin yung market. Usually, our market here is a secondary home or asset or property. Diba? Some actually buy properties to live here, pero very rare. Diba? Usually vacation homes.
Mga 50% or...
More, probably like 70%, ganyan. Mostly weekend homes, Airbnb.
30% lang yung tumitira
30% yung to actually live here. And usually, the ones who buy properties here, usually taga dito na rin sa area. Or neighboring
abroad or something.
Yun yung isa. Mga OFWs, retire dito. At the same time, madami rin na foreign retirees here. So, isa yon. Usually, may Filipina na wife or husband, diba? Tapos parang they want to retire here in Zambales specifically. So, yan. Medyo malaki rin yung market.
Pero what makes Zambales unique compared to, for example, Batangas, La Union?
Uniqueness. Well, other than the actual scenery, diba?
Yeah.
Well, Zambales is West Coast. So, ang favorite part namin of the day is the sunset. Kasi ang sunset facing. So, nabababa yung sunset right on the beach dun sa dagat mismo.
Ganda nga nung sunset namin kahapon.
Exactly. Very dramatic, diba? And then, what's good about Zambales is that actually, one of the second biggest mountain range in Luzon.
That's true.
Is actually the Zambales mountain range, which includes Mount Pinatubo.
It includes
dito rin siya, Botolan yung Mount Pinatubo. So Zambales is that thin land sandwiched in between the sea and the mountains.
Also the mountains at the backdrop.
East almost. So yung sunrise mo dun sa mountains. Ganda rin. Ganda rin ang sunrise. So I think in terms of the physical attributes of Zambales, that's what sets it apart.
Okay.
Yung beach niya, at the same time, yung mountain na backdrop. At the same time, madami ring parts ng Zambales na hindi reachable by land. Kailangan mo mag-boat.
So, boat talaga.
Coves,
yung mga coves, sikat nga.
Exactly. So, in terms of, diba, what you can see, that's mainly it. At the same time, in terms of what drove the tourism suddenly here in Zambales is surfing. So back in early 2010s, even late 2000s, ang first na mga nakadiscover are actually surfers. Kasi these are usually from Manila. Parang people in Manila surfers trying to look for new spots na hindi as crowded, diba, to surf. Parang alternative to La Union, wherein very developed na, dami na, diba, medyo masikip na. So, nahanap nila yung Zambales kasi merong seasons din ng surf sa Zambales, 2 seasons in a year.
What are those months?
Amihan and Habagat yan. South swell and North swell, basically. So, Amihan is usually nasa mga Burr months, Habagat is about Burr months, ganyan. So, Amihan is more like Christmas to early summer, ganyan. February, ganyan. So, that's what started tourism here. And yung interesting kasi about surf culture, you know, madaming nadodraw na attention from tourists, not specifically for surfing, but it's the culture that surrounds surfing. That's exactly what happened to La Union, diba? Parang yung surf culture, pupunta doon, pero hindi ka naman necessarily to surf, but you want to be around that.
Pumuporma lang.
Exactly. Kasama, lifestyle.
Coffee shop.
Siargao, diba? Yan, surf tourism. So this is what happened to Zambales as well. Noon pa naman may beach na ganyan kaganda. Although, diba, kung walang nag-start ng noise, diba, ng popularity niya, diba, it wouldn't have developed the same way. So that's one. So yung tourism na yun, surf tourism, diba? So the natural, ano rin. And I think one of the advantages is really the access from Manila. Fastest is about 3 hours, kaya.
3 hours, dire-diretso. I'm curious about the surf culture. Well, hindi ako nagsasurf. I did scuba, pero
nice.
You know, it revolves around the same interest.
Correct.
So parang gets ko na parang you have for an activity, you get to, syempre, sabit-sabit na lahat yan. May restaurant ka. Like for example, in Dumaguete, in that place near, may scuba diving spot doon eh. Tapos, bro, lahat doon, wala akong Pinoy food na nakain.
Wow.
Oo, kasi parang lahat, syempre, from abroad, diba? Yun yung ano nila, attraction nila. So, lahat naka-revolve. And, yung per plate nila, parang 500 per plate. Manila price. So, kita yung mga locals, diba? And then, people like this island, dito sa Apo Island, dati, fishing yung kanilang main source of income. Na-overfish yung isla. So, nung na-overfish yung isla, syempre naubos yung wala na silang makuha. Resulted to dynamite fishing before.
Right.
But syempre, nung pinagbawal, lumapit yung government, sabi niya, conserve natin. Tapos nung kinonserve nila, wala namang isda eh.
Right.
So, kinonserve nila ng matagal. Then eventually, nagkaroon ng fish ulit. And then when the fish came, the turtles came.
Wow.
Nung dumating yung turtle, doon na nagdagsaan na lahat ng turista. Nung una, locals. Actually, sadly, nauna yung international
I see.
International tourists, scuba divers. Tapos, doon sa village na yun, bro, bawat pasok mo doon, kunwari parang 200 per head, snorkel lang. Another amount per pag may dive master kang kukunin. Another amount for So, parang naging cash flow na.
Exactly.
Cash cow na siya.
Right.
So, nag-iba. Yung economy nila nag-shift from talaga mangingisda to tourism. Ang laking bagay. Oo.
Exactly.
Kung isipin mo yung negosyo ng fishing, ang hirap kasi kailangan mo mabenta yung fish. Patay na yun eh. So, kailangan mo ma-dispose yun before the day ends. Ito, yung tourism, pag binigay sa'yo yung amount, yun na yun. Pure cash, diba? Pure, pwede mo nang gastusin. So, what about yung surf culture? Ano naman yung parang mga, I know, hindi kasi ako surfer. Pero I know sa Leon yun, dumami yung coffee shop, dumami yung mga, syempre Airbnbs, diba? Property prices, grabe, ngayon parang Baguio or Quezon City na rin yung presyo ng lupa, no? So, can you describe to me how yung surf culture affected yung property prices? So,
yeah, in terms of property prices, property prices is driven by tourism, diba? So as tourism grew, diba, sumikat yung property, tumataas yung demand, diba? When demand rises, diba, prices go up.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's one for the properties, diba? But in relation to what yung kunento mo about Dumaguete, it's the same thing. Originally, fisherman's town talaga yan. Yung Zambales, diba?
Okay.
Parang yun yung primary source of income, diba? Na economy ng Zambales. But since tourism came, diba? Syempre nag-shift sila. Yung mga dating bangka na ginagamit pang fishing, tour na lang. Mas madali. Tour boats na lang.
Diba? At dito may cove pa. Hindi lang surfing.
Exactly. So there are coves, islands. Diba? So
islands
realize din ng mga locals na, teka, parang mas malaki yung kikitain namin. Diba? Sa mas konting oras yung kailangan namin sa laot. Diba?
May tips pa.
May tips pa. Diba? So mas enjoy sila. Diba? Less physical labor. Diba? Kasi nagtutour lang sila. So that's one. Tourism from the, diba? Yun yung direct na conversion of business, diba? Livelihood. The same time, yung mga dati na fisher folk din, yung mga anak na natuto mag-surf. Yung mga natuto dun sa mga tourists na parang mga batang dati nanonood lang, diba? Kuya, paano ba yan? Tinuruan din sila ng mga first na tourists dito. Yung mga batang yun grew up to be like
halimaw na.
Bro, grabe. Mga teenagers ngayon lumalaban from Zambales International. Ganyan. From skimboard to surfboard, short flat. Ganyan. Kasi that's their backyard.
Oo.
Parang dati, nagtutumbang preso tayo, sila nagsusurf. Diba? Ganun yung trip ng mga kids dito. Grew up here. Diba? So, sila rin, other than competing, diba? Hindi naman lahat ganun kagaling.
Yeah.
But, may economy rin that revolves around teaching surf. Sila yung mga instructor ngayon, diba? Yung mga lokal na magagaling. Inaano lang sila, tinetrain sila. Meron ding groups that train and certify these surf instructors, ganyan. So that's a big economy as well, diba? And then at the same time, natututo din sila na parang, teka, yung mga properties natin, diba? Sila naman yung dating may-ari ng mga beachfront, diba? It's either they sell out, diba? To resorts, to development, or some of them, yung mga may capacity, tatayo ng sarili nilang resort.
Okay.
Diba? So madami rin actually, and especially in Liuliwa, wherein it's the busiest, most developed town in Zambales. Dami rin doon. Locals yung may-ari ng mga small resorts.
That's good.
So they earn from it. So talagang nag-shift yung majority ng economy into tourism.
Nice.
So, yun yung effect niya.
So, if I was an investor, I have some cash, for example, syempre ang ang magiging issue ko is, what if gusto ko mag-cater sa general market? Sa general crowd, hindi yung surfers.
Okay.
No? So, ano yung dapat kong isipin when I make an Airbnb? Like, siguro locations. Maybe we can talk about the location specifically later. But, ano yung mga una kong iisipin?
I see. Interesting question. Good question. Well, to begin with, halos lahat na accommodations is for general. It's rarely targeted to surfers.
Okay.
Kasi hindi naman marami yung surfers.
Okay.
So, they're part of the general public din naman, di ba? So, basically, budget. That's where we start, di ba? The minimum probably that you have to get, if Airbnb, is around 200 square meters, I would say, is just enough for a villa. Diba, na may parking ka. Maybe a space for a dipping pool, ganyan, 200 square meters. So yun, yung space muna, the land, diba? Isipin mo yun. So probably budget ka dyan around 2 to 3 million, ganyan, for a 200 square meter lot. And then, secondly, not bad. Yes, sa mga yan yung mga medyo cheaper side, ganyan. It's not necessarily beachfront, but you don't have to be beachfront naman pag Airbnb as long as you can walk, diba?
That's true.
Walang problem.
So you don't have to be beachfront to be kasi may mga challenges rin yun, diba?
So mainly, ang experience ko with buyers who are investing first time at the beach. Ang image parati niyan in their head is beachfront. Yung paglabas ng bahay nila, magkakape sila in front of the sea, diba? Ganyan. But they don't realize na it's very expensive. Diba? Minsan twice the price pag beachfront ka, specifically. Tapos yung the one at the back is suddenly, diba, a lot cheaper. Literally, kahit sobrang lapit lang.
Kahit lakarin lang.
It's beachfront, period. Parang ginto yung beachfront.
Kasi hindi mo pwedeng isarado yung beach, diba? Hindi mo, kailangan laging may daanan yun.
Not necessarily. May mga places na may public access to the beach. May iba na malayo yung distance na depende sa development. So that's what makes it valuable, lalo na dun sa places na walang public access dun sa beach. So yun, that's one. It's more expensive. Other than that, malalaki yung cuts ng beachfront usually than the ones at the back.
Siyempre, ayaw na lang i-piecemeal yun kasi
sayang laki.
Malamang beach lang yung bilhin mo. Paano yung nasa likod?
So, parang bigger investment talaga pag beachfront. Diba? But, it's really the most visually. Diba?
And of course, ang problem sa beachfront is yung mahirap i-maintain yung mga bakal.
Correct.
Kasi laging nagra-rust. Ano pa ba?
Well, maintenance is one of the things to consider pag beachfront. Lahat ng bakal, as you said, kinakalawang dahil sa salt water, the air. At the same time, pag may bagyo, diba?
Ikaw ang first.
Ikaw yung haharap dun sa, diba, sa hangin from the sea. So usually you have to consider that na when you build your house, diba? Engineering-wise, architecturally, diba? Kailangan it can withstand strong winds. So usually on windows. Hindi, kung pipili ka ng glass mo sa window, kailangan mas
dapat yung makapal.
Diba? Otherwise, may chance na mabasag. So, kasama yun. Hindi alam yun usually ng mga buyers when they get here. So, yun yung reality check. Meron naman beachfront. Pwede mo naman bilhin. But ito yun. Other than that, other than the financial part of it, diba? The expenses, mas exposed ka rin, syempre, may risks din. Diba? Yung bagyo naman, kahit matibay bahay mo, diba? Danger pa rin siya. Diba? At the same time, totoo rin naman yung tsunamis and, diba, storm surge, diba? Basically, it doesn't happen here, but, diba, literally, just because you're, diba, on the sea, there's always that chance, diba? So you have to consider that too. So that's the main drawbacks of being beachfront. But of course, if you can't afford beachfront, iba pa rin talaga, diba? Because of the view and direct access to the beach.
So let's go back to so if we're gonna do an Airbnb na hindi beachfront. Kasi I think we're gonna discuss another concept later sa beachfront. You have 3 million for the lot, for 200 square. Tapos, papatayo ka ng bahay around, maybe you'll spend around, 30,000 per square rin dito.
Mga ganyan,
ang construction.
30. Yes, correct.
30. Oh, so a bit cheaper than Metro Manila. And,
a little bit. Specifically, mas mura dito yung pagsemento kasi we have lots of sand to mix, di ba?
Oo nga, no? Galing,
Oo. So, minsan, mas mura pa talaga. Kaya, di ba uso yung mga container van, parang instant na, na parang villa or room, di ba?
Okay.
So, yun usually yun. Very common yun. Tinatanong sa akin, parang, Vic, diba? Advisable ba yung mga container house, ganyan, blah, blah. Sabi ko, well, to be honest, advantage kasi nun, mura dapat. But,
binisnes na eh.
You have to consider na bakal yun. Diba?
Mainit.
So, other than mainit, diba, insulation, other than that, kailangan mo siya rust-proof kasi nasa dagat ka.
Yun na naman, rust.
Diba? Kalawangin na naman.
Kalaw.
Secondly, mas mura nga yung semento, tatagal pa. Diba? So, kung mura yung cement, diba, yung actual boom mix, usually, semento na lang. Kesa pareho lang gagastusin mo. Siguro mas mabilis ng konti yung container van, but diba? What are you talking about? A month more? A month faster? So
actually, inaral rin namin yung container van nung ginagawa namin Airbnb sa Baguio. Pero medyo mahal siya. Tapos para it's really not built to be a house kasi. I mean, talagang shipping containers kasi siya. So it's for products na hindi kailangan huminga. So okay lang. So if we build a house, for example, we have a 300 square meter lot, and then we build that Airbnb. How much do usually rooms charge?
I see.
All
right.
Per night.
It will depend on the market that you're targeting. Of course, the cheaper ones, diba, nasa siguro 500 pesos per head. Diba?
Okay.
Would depend on kung diba, 10 packs, diba? That's 5,000 pesos. Ganyan.
Okay. Pero maramihan yun, syempre.
Oo, syempre, the more yung capacity, the cheaper it is dapat per head, diba?
Theoretically.
But theoretically, pero hindi rin masyado. Parang mas per head yung basihan. Usually dito. So the cheaper ones are there. Mid-range is about 1,000, diba? Per head, diba? So for 5 packs, 5,000. 10 packs, 10,000. Tapos, yung medyo high-end na, di ba, yung mga talagang IG-friendly na mga properties, di ba, better furniture, and di ba, beddings. Pag may pool, usually, pag may mga ganyan, pwede ng 1,500 to 2,000 per head.
Okay.
So, okay din. So, it would depend then on the market that you're targeting. At the same time, di ba, budget mo rin. Diba? So, usually, they start simple. Diba? Basic muna, lower rates. And then, pag nagka-budget, kumita ng konti sa B&B, dagdag ka ng facilities, equipment, furniture, taas ka ng konti ng presyo. Diba? So, usually yun yung advice namin. Start small muna, simple. Diba?
At least mag-test mo agad muna.
Exactly. Okay. So, and then, pag nakita mo, it's picking up. Ganyan, diba? Taas ka ng presyo, dagdag ka ng, diba? Kung wala kang pool dati, baby mo yung palagay ka ng pool, taas ng presyo. Diba? So, okay din siyang investment. And just to add to that, actually, majority ng buyers namin for small lots are really Airbnb model. Kasi initially, hindi siya purely Airbnb yung initial nila, yung primary use nila. Vacation home siya.
Titirahan talaga.
Titirahan nila on a weekend or on a whatever, diba? On a summer, ganyan. Parang beach house lang for the family. But since Airbnb came, diba, into the scene, suddenly, you can make use of your property, earn from it, habang di mo siya ginagamit. Diba?
Right.
So, while you ride the 20% per annum na appreciation, kumikita ka pa on a daily basis. Cash flow mo pa, diba? To maintain the house, diba? Everything. And then just block it off kapag gagamitin nyo. Ganun na kasimple. So, ang dami. Since dami nagtatanong sa akin, pag maliit na lot, usually ganun yan. Airbnb, diba? Na beach house na lang. Sa weekends.
So, balik tayo, bro, sa beachfront. No? Sa La Union kasi, for example, karamihan ng beachfront houses doon may retaining wall for the, kasi nakukuha ng dagat yung lupa nila. Erosion. I think dito baliktad.
Erosion. Okay.
So,
I'd like to discuss that.
Can you discuss yung difference ng Zambales?
So, sa La Union, erosion. Meaning natural na pag-lessen ng land. Meaning either umuurong yung dagat papunta sa property mo, kinakain, diba? Nag-erode yung ano. The total opposite of it is accretion. Okay, so accretion is the natural addition to your land. So meaning yan, yung water line, di ba, yung umuurong siya pa atras dito sa Zambales.
Okay.
And if you're wondering why, di ba, very rare yan yung accretion. Usually yung accretion, na to yung river, na to yung stream, di ba, nadagdag dun sa property mo. Dagat, di ba, nadadagdagan. So, historically, nung 1992, Pinatubo erupted. It's one of the biggest eruptions in the world actually. Umabot pa sa ibang bansa yung ashfall, 'di ba? So dito 'yon, Botolan. So when that happened, nadagdagan agad yung first few meters yung beachfront, nadagdagan dahil dun sa volcanic ash, di ba?
Which is yung lahar.
Yung lahar, basically.
Lahar.
So, lahar kasi is the flowing, ganyan. Tapos yung sand mismo is volcanic ash na mixed with the actual sand, bro. Yung actual sand. Meron pa rin namang sand talaga.
Okay.
So, parang dati, darker yung sand. Medyo black sand ang Zambales. Parang La Union, actually. Medyo darker yung sand. But since nahaluan ng lahar, which is lighter, para siyang papasang white sand na siya pagtanghali.
Gray.
Light gray. Alam mo yun, light gray. Which is nice pa rin. Alam mo, madaling habulin sa post-processing. Mukha na siya white.
Edit mo
diba? Exactly. So yun yung nangyari. So nadagdagan. Secondly, lahat ng rivers, main rivers ng Zambales, nanggagaling sa mountain, sa taas.
I see.
So nung pumutok yung Pinatubo, yung lahat ng rivers na yon napuno ng lahar.
Oo.
So actually, pag napadaan ka dito, yung mga bridges, lahat yun lahar yung makikita mo sa ilalim. So what happens is that sobrang daming deposit ng lahar doon. Tuwing rainy season, pag tag-ulan, bagyo, di ba? Lumalakas yung water flow doon sa rivers. Napupush niya palabas ng sea. Yung excess, yung top part ng lahar.
O kasi fine sand yan, Very fine.
So kayang-kayang paglabas niya, nagde-distribute dun sa nearest na mga beachfront. So yun yung nangyayari. May mga parts of Zambales na every year 5, 10 meters yung nadadagdag dun sa property niya. A year.
So in 10 years, kung 10 meters per year, may extra ka ng 100 meters papunta sa dagat.
Actually happened already in Liuliwa, one of the biggest na accretion area kasi katabi siya ng river. But it's not consistent as well. Alam mo yan, minsan may years na mas konti. Ngayon, it's actually slowing down. So, it could be a couple of factors, diba? Maybe naubos eventually yung mga lahar sa rivers, but nag-iiba. So, hindi mo rin siya ma-expect na nangyayari. But, again, it's a good thing na nanganganak yung land mo kung sa'yo yun, but there comes, diba, the technical side of it. Diba? In accretion land, officially in the whole Philippines, you cannot title accretion land, beach accretion to be specific. Naka-hold yan. So there's a ban, and we do not know kung kailan i-allow. So practically, what happens is, if sa'yo yung titled na beachfront, diba, tapos humaba, you will have the first right to use it. Basically, diba?
Kung ikaw yung adjacent.
Ikaw yung adjacent, yung last titled land before the beach, tapos humaba. You have the first right na ipatitle yon if i-allow na siya. Diba?
Akala ko naka-reserve kay Mayor. Hindi ba?
Iba pa yun. Iba pa yun. But the truth is, dahil ang lahat na accretion is still officially public land. So basically, if the government deems na gagamitin ko yan, maglalagay ako ng coastal road dyan, they can still take it away from you. So there's a risk pa rin to accretion land, diba? As long as hindi mo pa yan napatitle, diba? Meron pa rin, it is not advisable, and actually it's not allowed to officially to build permanent structures.
Diba? Kasi malambot ang lupa pa rin doon, diba? Pag ganun.
Saan talaga?
Diba?
Actually, lahat naman yun, kahit yung title land, malambot pa rin. Which, again, is another thing to consider, diba? Pag magbe-build ka dito, yung architecture mo, kailangan nag-soil test ka. So, kasama yun ginagawa ng engineers. Na titest nila yung soil para alam nila yung computation ng load na kaya, paano design yung foundations. So, sama yun, malambot talaga pag beach. So, may tendency, meron nun nakita picture nun, na parang bahay sa La Union ba yun? Yung parang ganun, parang unfinished house na parang bumigay, parang siyang humiga, ganyan. So it happens if you don't do the proper soil testing and design.
Structural design.
So may mga ganyan.
So may disadvantage ang beachfront. Kasi kung after 1 decade, hindi ka na beachfront. Kapag ang layo na nung shoreline.
True, yung house mo specifically. Kung nagtayo ka ng house.
Dito ka na. Maybe nadagdagan yung lote mo, technically. Technically, hindi. Pero parang practically dumagdag, di ba? Pero hindi ka na beachfront. So, might as well do the inland.
True.
Yung mga inland na properties.
True. Well, it depends usually naman, more often than not, yung mga beachfront are the tourist like accommodations, resorts. Usually, yun yung
they utilize it.
Diba? They utilize it.
Gawa ka na lang ng volleyball court. Ganun.
Pwede. Or pool, diba? Pool area mo na yun. Whatever, diba? So, you can, I would say na mas positive kasi nga nadadagdagan yung land mo. But of course, if you want your house sana na literally on the beach, diba? Baka negative nga, diba? There's drawbacks talaga in beachfront. Okay din. Like ako personally, if I were to choose where to live, yung personal residence ko, ayoko yata yung beachfront. Diba? Kung vacation home yan, Airbnb yan, baka, diba? Pwede kasi mas desirable for your guests, diba? Kasi hindi naman sila titira doon
Makes sense.
Diba? But if you want the safety of your family, diba? Parang mas okay, mas less init kasi mas inland ka, mainit din sa beach kasi walang puno, diba?
Mas mainit sa beach.
So nagre-reflect lahat ng init ng sand, diba? So, mas mainit sa'yo yung hangin. So may mga ganyan drawbacks pag beachfront. So if it's for your personal use, I would recommend, diba? Consider na lang nasa likod, maglalakad ka lang naman, lapit lang ng beach, diba?
Alam mo, parang familiar sa akin. Kasi for example, sa amin sa Baguio, I would rather get a property na normally kasi, 'di ba? Pag sinabi mong Baguio, syempre gusto mo makita mountains, clear, walang ibang bahay, ganyan. Pero ako parang gusto ko yung property na may tubig muna. Kasi yung view, sasampayan mo lang ng underwear yun eventually Parang masasanay ka rin na may view. Pero kapag yung property ko, kunwari ako titira ako sa Baguio, pipili akong property na medyo madaling i-commute, may tubig.
Practical reason.
Practical reason kasi yung view, later on, medyo you get used to it. Doesn't benefit you directly. True. Unlike parang kunwari, you have water. Kunwari everyday may tubig.
Priorities, no?
Priority mo yun. Parang similar.
Very similar. Even with safety, I would say, kung cliffside ka, parati kang meron, diba, landslide? Diba?
That's true.
Same as diba? Tsunami, diba? Mga storm surge. So, I guess the same. So, the beauty of the view comes with certain, diba, risks and diba, drawbacks, I guess. So, yun na lang ibabalance mo.
Yeah. Next question ko is about infrastructure. Kasi, God bless yung mga past na administration, ganyan, whether anong party ka dun sa politics mo. Regardless, no, malaking naging effect ng mga roads going outside Metro Manila dun sa prices ng mga property. So, meron bang mga we have to look for na kumbaga parang mga recent developments na mga major highways na magbabago sa outlook sa Zambales?
Correct. Well, the main one na tapos na that changed yung infrastructure talaga sa Zambales is nung natapos yung SCTEX na hanggang dulo. Yun yung main shift. Kasi before, it used to be an hour or two more. Parang kung kunwari T to 4 ngayon dati, parang 5 hours, di ba? To get to Zambales. So, nung nagbukas yung SCTEX, biglang 3 to 4 hours, kaya mo mag-Zambales. And now, they're building like 2 new access to Zambales. Currently kasi, ang access mo lang either through the south, from Subic, Olongapo, yung isa naman from north, from Pangasinan, di ba? Which is, di ba, galing north. Ngayon, meron ng from Tiplex, yung Tarlac, from Tarlac to Botolan. They're building that Capas-Botolan Road. So, ang interesting dyan, kasi from Botolan, northern Zambales, same time na lang to get there from Manila versus yung southern Zambales where we are now, which is 3 to 4 hours. Dati kasi, yung northern plus 2-3 hours, ganyan pa, layo. Ngayon, may cut-through. Hindi ka nadadaan sa southern Zambales, rekta ka na sa north. Tapos highway. Tapos yung interesting dyan, yung crossing na yun from the coast of Zambales, yung highway ng Zambales, and Tarlac, dumadaan sa mountain range ng Zambales.
Wow.
So scenic siya, mga pass, ganyan, yung parang top of the mountain. So kaya rin siya medyo matagal matapos.
I see.
Target yata, I believe, is 2025, pero parang yung Zambales side tapos na, Tarlac side na lang hinihintay. So hopefully 2026 daw next year. But a lot of people are already yung mga land bankers. We have clients na land bankers who know about that development. Nagpapahanap na sa amin sa area na yon. Kasi once that finishes, tataas yung value ng Northern Zambales. Kasi suddenly, mas mabilis na rin makaabot. So that's one. Secondly, one of the closest na medyo developed cities kasi dito is Clark. Angeles area.
With the new airport.
From Manila, with the new airport. Now, they're building a train all the way to Clark from Manila. So suddenly, yung public transport to this area, to Zambales, mas bibilis. Pwede ka na mag-train, dire-diretso. So that should push the development north, basically. So isa yon sa mga ina-anticipate din ng areas na to, yung train na yan. And hopefully mabot dito, but I don't know when, di ba? But the train system should be a game changer, sa totoo lang. Lalo na yung inter-region na mga trains, di ba? That's the dream for the Philippines.
Mas mabilis, less hassle, safer, di ba?
Di ba sabi mo sa developed countries, di ba? It's really trains, pag long distance, di ba? Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Ayoko i-compare kasi nade-depress lang. That's true. I just came from Japan. So
That's true. That's true. So,
but also you mentioned another one from Cavite to Bataan.
Oh, that's another thing. May bridge ngayon that will connect Cavite all the way to Bataan. 45-minute drive. Imagine, from Cavite, Manila ka na. 45 minutes sa Bataan ka na. And Bataan is about 2 hours pa naman from here. Not that close, but it's an alternative route na mas scenic, di ba?
The thing is, ang daming tao dun, saka south, di ba? Sa Cavite, Laguna, ang daming tao dun. So pag nag-start talaga yun, pumunta dito, grabe.
New market for us.
New market.
Kasi currently, yung mga non-Manila market namin are the neighboring provinces like Tarlac, Pampanga, Pangasinan, nag-invest here, diba? Or nagbabakasyon dito for the beach, diba? So I guess from the south, bigla may access ka. Cavite, imagine. So I guess yun, malaking bagay din yun. So infrastructure is really playing a big role dito sa Zambales. So those are the big ones. But of course, it also applies dun sa expansion ng roads within Zambales. Yung mga dating dirt road, di ba? Dahan-dahan na rin yung semento. Nagkakaroon na rin ng coastal roads, di ba? Along certain towns may coastal road. Ganda rin. So, beachfront, coastal, and then sand lang. So, malinis. May mga ganyang areas dito. So, that also helps, di ba? Accessibility is the key. Diba? Once na biglang nagsemento ang isang road ng isang area, tumataas yung value, automatic. So, it's a matter of catching up kasi nga nagde-develop super fast here in Zambales. Minsan hindi nakakahabol yung infrastructure.
Yung infrastructure. Lagi nga yun. Ganun.
Oo, true. Pag hindi nila in-expect, lalo na here, there's this one town, yung Liuliwa. Super bilis, parang 2013 we started there, parang 5th resort kami. We put up a small surf resort. 2013, we were the 5th. And then ngayon, there's 250.
Surf resort?
Surf, hindi naman, resorts in general, diba? So, yung within that 10-year gap, biglang nag-boom. Hindi ang problem, hindi nakahabol yung infrastructure. Dahil yung mga, diba, yung roads, hindi rin nakaabot. So, nagbabaha, puddles, yung drainage, diba, systems. Minsan, yung electricity, hindi kinakaya. So,
pero yung water dito, okay naman, mag-dig ka lang, may water.
There's two options naman. We have lined water, water district yung tawag, yung parang nawasa sa Manila. Meron din, pero most commonly, groundwater talaga. So, you can have both. Ganyan. So, yeah, okay naman, walang problema sa water. Then again, yun nga, electricity. Thankfully, medyo nauso na yung solar. Ngayon, nagmumura na rin kasi ang solar. Diba? Being at the beach, dami mong araw.
Sulit na sulit mo dito solar.
And yung okay dyan, meron na ring net metering. So yung yung provider, energy distributor sa Zambales is called Zameco.
Bibilhin nila.
So nangyari, ang mahal kasi sa solar setup, yung batteries, diba? So meron ngayon na hybrid system siya na yung excess na i-produce ng panels mo, bibilin pabalik ng Zameco. So mangyari, if at night, maubusan ka sa battery mo, automatic siya mag-shift dun sa line, sa Zameco. And then, nag-offset sa dulo. Yung binili nilang excess, o-offset nila sa ginamit mo, nag-zero bill ka sa dulo.
Nice, We have the same setup sa Baguio. So, pero ang problem namin, lagi umuulan doon. So, hindi mo masusulit masyado yung as much as here. Diba?
So, yun, that's number one. Yung mga kaya mag-solar, nagsusolar na lang automatic. Then again, you have their government, Zameco. So,
Now, speaking of starting to invest in Zambales, in other cities kasi, yung mga abot-kaya na na way of starting investing in real estate is usually may subdivisions, diba? You're coming in with Camellia, tapos or with condominiums SMDC. May ganun bang version dito? Pinapasok na ba ito ng big developers?
Okay. There are developers, not yet the mainstream ones, like wala pang SMDC or Yala, ganyan. Wala pa for now, but we have the low-cost ones, like yung Fiesta Homes. Camellia na rin yata somewhere inland. So the villages, the subdivisions, yung mga horizontal developments like that are usually inland. Sa mga bayan, ganyan. Yan yung mga area. But the beach areas, though, small developers ang meron. Mga usually smaller na, di ba, few tens, 20, 30, 50 lots lang, ganyan. So meron, may mga ganon. But yeah, the big developers wala. Interesting. So we're hoping na we have listings na geared towards developers.
Big developers.
Diba? So in-offer din namin. Diba? It's just that, problem kasi pag beach development, mahal na eh. Diba? Tapos usually, mahirap humanap ng malaki. Kasi usually na-subdivide na, diba? Smaller cuts. So, it's a bit harder kasi madami ng mga resorts din. But of course, there are. So hopefully we get those medyo mid to top to high end na mga developments here.
Okay. So, for a person wanting to start to invest sa Zambales, the best way talaga is private lots.
Muna. I would say. Yeah, you could start small. There is an option though. If you're not particular naman na malapit ka sa beach, we have these, since medyo rural pa rin ang Zambales, we have a lot of farmlands. And pag ang classification mo is agriculture, farmland ka, nagdo-drop yung price. So actually, for the same price na, let's say, 3 million yung gagastusin mo for a 200 square meter near the beach, layo ka lang ng konting-konti. Siguro, di ba, parang maybe 1 kilometer away from the beach, ang daming farmlots na mura. So if you don't mind driving 1 minute going to the beach, biglang mura yung mga fraction of the price. From 15,000, let's say, yung malapit sa beach, biglang yung farmland, 5,000. May 3,000 per square. Diba? So suddenly, for your budget, may malaki ka ng lote. Diba? Not necessarily naman farm na farm siya. Pero yun lang yung classification. Lapit pa rin sa beach. So, we call those beach farmlands.
Beach farmlands.
Beach farmlands, diba? But beach pa rin siya. So, parang these are for our clients na ma-realize nila parang, lit lang pala na mabibili ng budget ko. Mahal pala sa beach, diba? Gusto ko mas malaking lote. Okay. If you don't mind na medyo drive ka ng papuntang beach, diba? Daming farm lots across. For that same budget, 1,000 square ka na. From 200 to 1,000 square for the same price. Just because agriculture yung classification niya. So may mga ganyan din.
Nice. Good tip, Kasi usually, lalo na yung mga retirees, right?
True.
Yung retirees, usually, they look for somewhere that you can farm. Kapag residential land ka, tapos meron kang manok doon.
Daming restrictions.
Diba? Or kung may baboy ka doon, tapos yung kapitbahay mo, nagreklamo, kaaway kayo.
You're right.
Based on mga nangyari to in the past. At least pag agricultural, you can defend your right to
to do farming.
Basically.
Ang dami pa pag retirement, 'di ba, kasama yan, I want to farm. Diba?
Yeah.
Ganun,
Plant
farm
trees,
tayo,
plant
diba?
mango.
Saka madami kasi na hindi makapili, farm ba o beach? yun, sakto, 'di ba? Farm near the beach. 'Di ba? So, especially, meron din kasi you're talking about those who want to start investing pa lang. You don't have much budget for something near the beach or in front of the beach. Meron ding maliliit na farmland here. So, meron mga 300 square, ganyan.
Okay.
So, basically, sub 1 million. 1 million peso property, 300 square near the beach. Farm lang yung classification niya. But, it's practically, pwede ka mag-Airbnb pa rin, ganyan. Cheaper version.
Okay.
Ganyan. So, may mga ganyan din.
That could be an episode. 1 million properties in the Philippines.
Saan naabot ang 1 million? Diba? Ito, farmland. Titled farmland near the beach. Diba? Okay din. May mga ganyang option.
Okay, I think that's enough for this first session of Behind the Scenes with Vic dito sa Zambales. Thank you again for your time, bro.
Of course.
Salamat.
My pleasure. Thanks for visiting and featuring our city, basically, in Zambales in general.
And we'll do more. In the future. Just subscribe lang kayo. Okay. Maraming salamat sa nanonood, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more properties in North Luzon.